Before we start the meeting, I ask you to please give me a moment to share what has been weighing heavily on my heart, and I promise to keep it brief. I'd like to share a little something about Heather, as many of us knew her. First, I'd also like to acknowledge that there may be some who find this inappropriate or feel that it's not the right platform, but not sharing this, which I considered, felt disrespectful and disingenuous. When I considered the audience, the residents who would be watching or sitting before us, I realized I am most likely among the very people whose lives Heather Castronova touched. Heather was a friend to so many in and outside of our community. I knew Heather for nearly 20 years. She was a friend of my husband for many years before I'd even met him. I met her a few weeks after I moved to this town. She was driving down Colonial and stopped to yell out, "Hi, I know your husband. I'm Heather. If you need anything, I'm here," in the way that only Heather can. People say that all the time, but she meant it. Heather is the one who lovingly convinced me to run for council. She had a way of convincing you that anything was possible. She was a die-hard cheer mom and the squad's biggest fan. Her tenacity and outgoing personality made you feel like you were among family. She was a female officer, a detective, which by itself is just inspirational for our daughters to see. She worked with me to transition our township cheer program and assisted in merging the squads with Westwood, and always making sure our girls were supported and had a voice as we left the township program to combine with Westwood. Heather made her presence known, but it was always for the benefit of the kids. I'd like to extend my deepest and most sincere condolences to the Cumming family. As a community, we mourn the loss, but celebrate all she left behind. The memories are ours to keep. In whatever capacity you knew her, detective, neighbor, friend, cheer mom, whatever that capacity was, you felt her presence. She was a force, and her absence has already left a tremendous void. We will long remember you, Heather, for your energy, your boundless selflessness, and your ability to get things done. You will be sorely missed. I'd like to ask for a moment of silence in honor of Heather Castronova. Thank you. Okay. Welcome to the regularly scheduled public meeting of February 21st, 2023 of the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers in January, and this meeting has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board, the electronic message board, WCTV, and on the township website. Please notify the municipal clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at mayor and council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones. Salute to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio?
Here.
Councilwoman Feeney?
Here.
Councilman Sears?
Here.
Councilwoman Velez?
Here.
Council President Morgan?
Here. Let the record reflect also in attendance Township Administrator DeCarlo, Township Attorney Poller, and Township Clerk Wachowski. New Community Alert System. Receive community information instantly. Sign up at nixle.com, Nixle.com. Nixle replaces SwiftReach. The Green Team has partnered with the Township Library to start a Trex recycling program. This program will allow residents to drop off plastic bags in a bin for recycling. The bags will be weighed monthly. Once the goal is reached, Trex will donate a park bench or a table to the township. The program began February 1st. The bins will be located at the Township Library. Cell phone collection will be at Town Hall. Save the date. Township of Washington Green Team is having a run, walk, 5K Town Health Fair, and it'll be held on Saturday, April 15th, 2023, at the Bethany Community Center, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., rain or shine. Watch our website for further information and to register and/or become a vendor. Blooming Hill Farm, Monroe, New York, sponsors a community-supported agriculture, which is a beneficial partnership where consumers receive fresh produce while helping to sustain the livelihoods and stewardship of farmers. The CSA runs from June 1st through November 23rd for a total of 26 weeks. Members may select all weeks or choose their own delivery weeks, minimum of 10 weeks. If anyone is interested in volunteering or being a consumer, please contact the Green Team. As per ordinance number 22-18, tree vendors must be registered to work in the township. Please visit our website for the tree vendor application. Please note, our elevator is out of service. The drop box is open 24/7 for any correspondence. Please label accordingly. 2023 animal license renewals were mailed out in late December. Please note the $5 late fee began on February 1st, and a $25 late fee begins on March 1st. The Township of Washington Ambulance Corps is looking for volunteers. If you can volunteer, please call WTVAC headquarters at 201-664-9784. Leave a message. Either President Bob Ehlers or Captain Trevor Landau will return your call. The next council meeting will be held on Monday, March 6th at 7:30 p.m.
Council President, sorry, there's no sound on YouTube. That's what somebody
Oh.
just
I
said.
just lost everything too, where did it all go?
It's fixed. He just said it's fixed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sorry to
Thank you.
interrupt. Sorry for the interruption.
Oh, no, that's okay. Thank you. All right, approval of minutes? None.
No.
You? Oh, okay, sorry.
Hey, we're playing catch-up.
Okay, March 28, 2022 budget meeting. May I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Abstain. March 28, 2022 budget
Oh,
meeting.
you did that one, you're doing 29.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant, 29. Sorry about that. 29, 2022 budget meeting.
So move.
Second.
Okay, Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney.
Sorry, yes, I was on mute, apologies.
No worries. Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Abstain. Okay. Okay, general public comment. Oh, I'm sorry.
Put that in there now.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that.
All right, so we have the motion to suspend the rules and move it off from the conference to this one.
Okay. And I have to.
You ready?
Okay. Okay. I'm going to motion to suspend the rules for the agenda to move the administrator's report up to the front. May I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Okay. Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I just had one question. Are we doing that in the future before the public comment to make sure that all the questions are answered?
Yes.
Or is this just for tonight?
Yes. Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Council President. I'd first like to start with Mr. and Mrs. Agnellos Concerns. As we were talking about the updates to their concerns last week, I did forget to mention that one of the concerns Mr. Agnello brought up was the possibility of untested or hazardous soil that was brought into the properties on the corner of Pascack and Washington, possibly in the 2010-2011 area. I was able to confirm that the soil was tested on April 28, 2011 by Mellick, Tully and Associates. I reviewed the report with the township engineer, John Ukimic, and the result was was favorable and the soil did not contain any hazardous material. I just forgot to update the council, however, Mr. and Mrs. Agnello did know the results. I also informed the Agnellos and council that it appears that an easement may have never existed in their backyard on Meissen Street. However, to be 100% certain, a title search must be conducted. Boswell Engineering has been given approval to conduct this research after confirming with Mr. Agnello that his current surveyor was not going to perform that. Mr. Agnello was also updated regarding his complaint of the 3 abandoned homes on the corner of Pascack Road and Washington Avenue. This complaint is being handled by our code enforcement officer. Property owner's attorney has already reached out to our code enforcement officer to begin working on a resolve. Township Attorney Ken Pollard has also been included in this matter. Of significance is remaining from Mr. and Mrs. Agnello's concern, as well as a few other residents on Meissen and on Burke. We had a very, very informative meeting, Mr. and Mrs. Agnello's home with myself and Mr. Yakimic on the 15th. I was very appreciative that the other residents actually came because they were able to fill in some blanks for us. It appears that maybe the initial application for the proposed project at the corner of Pascack and Washington is where the C1 waterway may have initiated when it was designated as such. Since that time, an applicant appealed to the DEP to have the C1 waterway restriction lifted, which we're all aware of. The letter was provided to the council. Ultimately, in summarizing, and not to diminish their concern, but in summary, they're ultimately concerned that that waterway, whether it's C1 waterway or just a stream of water, will eventually disappear and therefore displace the water in places that will affect those residents' neighborhood or properties. I did make a OPA request to DEP on Friday, February 10, 2023. I've since not received any information back from them. My hope is just to find a better trail of paperwork as to the initiation and declassification of the C1 waterway. Mr. Yakimic that day did provide information and guidance after speaking with the Zoning Board of Adjustments attorney, Gary Giamantonio, that the proper venue for further discussion of the C1 waterway lies with the Zoning Board of Adjustments and not the council and administration. We also spoke with Township Attorney Ken Pollard. Those gentlemen were informed of that. It also included our assistant to the Planning and Zoning Board, Grace Kalish, who provided further information to Mr. Agnello on how to proceed further and in the future with the Zoning Board of Adjustments. He does have some documents that need authentication in order to present them and speak before the Zoning Board of Adjustment. Move on, Mrs. Pastano's concerned with the trench and the not inappropriate, but just uncraftsmanship of the pavement that was used to fill in the trench in front of the emergency services building was causing excessive noise to the residents there. Was addressed on Saturday. However, it wasn't addressed appropriately, and the craftsmanship was poor, to be quite honest. I spoke to the contractor today, and they have another contractor coming out Thursday to fix it. It was explained to me that they should have waited a little longer. The company should have waited a little longer before suggesting the roadway would be opened. The pavement wasn't, adhered to the old pavement properly and long enough. So as soon as cars started driving over it, it was just tearing up the old pavement and essentially made another pothole. Ms. Pastano also brought up today the intrusive lighting that was left on at the emergency services building. I've already been in contact with the leadership of both the ambulance corps and the fire department. Both sides have a switch protector for those lights that doesn't allow the lights to go on, so the ambulance corps is a little baffled as to how they went on. But ambulance corps Captain Trevor Ledoux, very professional, sent out an apology to Ms. Pastano and advised that they'll be working with their membership to inform them not to turn on those lights, and we hope the situation will be rectified from there. Mr. Ullman expressed his concern with the raised pavement in front of the ESB. That was explained to him that it wasn't a pothole or a safety hazard or of a quality of life nuisance. Mr. Ullman also asked on the progress of the commuter lot. The commuter light site plans have been complete, and I'm expecting a completed proposal from Boswell Engineering by the end of this week that will be ready for bid, to go out to bid. Ms. Lipnick inquired for the no parking on Finnerty Place. As you can see on the agenda, Township Attorney Poller has prepared the ordinance revision for the first reading this evening, and Township DPW sees no problem with painting the curb. Also of a concern from Ms. Pistano was the possible violation of overloaded or overweighted trucks. Had a very positive conversation with Corporal Morgan, the Bergen County Sheriff's Department Traffic Safety Unit, who was more than happy to assist our local police department in enforcing any possible violations. Those gentlemen have been in contact, and I'm hoping to hear soon that they'll be initiating some type of enforcement detail on Washington Avenue. As far as updates, I'm happy to say Township Grant Writer David Bueno is assisting in completing the final paperwork in order to receive final reimbursement for the construction of 2 new basketball courts, one at Gardner Field and one at Memorial Field. Both will be a reimbursement to the township of $34,593. Also, if we keep our fingers crossed, our elevator service company is due to come tomorrow with a electronic board that they're installing, and hope it's going to work. So hopefully maybe tomorrow we'll have elevators again. And then just lastly on the update, Township Clerk Wachowski had sent out some information from the Department of Community Affairs regarding the national opiate settlement. I guess fortunately for us, we are not receiving any of the settlement amount. And I say fortunately because I believe it's being dispersed to communities that had an excessive need for naloxone or training or programs to combat opiate overdoses, which just seems that we are not fitting that category. So I think that's good news in this situation that we were not receiving any money. And Council President, unless I forgot something, that concludes my update.
Thank you for that thorough update. To participate in the general public comment portion of the meeting, please click on the link below to join the webinar. If by phone, *9 to raise hand, *6 to unmute. Each person wishing to address the council shall give his or her name and the home address for the record, and we ask that only one person speak at a time with a 5-minute limit. Speakers are to direct all questions to the council president. All members of the public and council are expected to conduct themselves in a proper manner. Any derogatory, abusive, or threatening statements will not be permitted, and the council president will immediately rule such conduct out of order and terminate any further comments. Motion to open.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Sue, is there anyone on? Aye.
There are, but no hands are raised at this moment.
Okay. Is anyone that would like to come up? Come on up, please.
My name is Diane Ferrara. I live at 743 Amherst Drive in the township. I'm going to speak very fast because I know I only have 5 minutes, so I hope you will forgive my motor mouth. But I've lived in the township for 55 years, over 55 years, since I was a child. And ever since we came to this township, my family has been very involved in trying to keep it beautiful. I remember my dad set up the Taxpayers Association. I don't know what he was fighting, but I was just a little kid. I just knew that he wanted to keep the township beautiful. So we've continued that as the need arises. So 15 years ago, we had a problem with the cell tower coming in a residential zone. I don't know if you're aware of that. So we rallied the citizens. We were up against AT&T. We knew we would lose if it went to the zoning board because the courts will back and FCC will back it. So we rallied the town and we stopped it by coming to the council here, begging them, please put on municipal property. We spent $20,000 of our own money for an attorney and an expert. And if they had put it where they wanted to in a residential zone, it would have blown the town open for more towers. So we really wanted to do what was best for the town. Because we did that, they didn't put it behind the tennis club, which was becoming a blighted property. And because there was no cell tower there, they were able to bring in the assisted living facility. The story behind that is that we're going to make it a 3-story modern structure that looked like a parking garage. We were horrified. The residents were starting to oppose it with a letter writing campaign. As soon as it came to my attention, I said, wait a minute. It's a blighted property. If we don't allow something beautiful in there, we don't know what's going to happen. It could be more intrusive, more ugly, more noisy. So I called the lawyer for the developer. Once he actually put me in touch with a principal at Capital Senior Housing. I said, how can you do this to our township? We will oppose it if it's 3 stories and if it's ugly. So he says, all right, we'll talk to you. So they knocked it down to 2 stories. I said, you know, this is a historical township. We have 7 chimneys. George Washington's been here. So he says, okay, we'll redesign it and make it look like the Federalist colonial style. They now have 7 chimneys on it, stone cladding, all because we ran interference. Then they met with residents and they agreed to put screening on all of our property. So this shows what resident concern and resistance will do. So it shows I love the township. Okay, so now because of that, the township will now have inherited a beautiful property that will do credit to the township. Why am I here? Because I love the beauty of this township. And I'm very upset to think that Memorial Field may be blighted by a developer who's still holding the property, who wants to remove all those trees. We have a beautiful amphitheater for our community and sports events, and I love driving by there and seeing trees. It's pretty much the only beauty that we have left at the center of the town. So I'm here to appeal this. We've spent in present dollars on our home over 55 years, easily $1 million, whether it's in taxes or home improvements. It's a big investment, and we want this town to be beautiful. So I'm not against development, as you see from what I just shared. What I'm for is keeping this town beautiful, doing what's going to keep it looking like a suburb rather than an overdeveloped adjunct to the cities. So I'm here not because it affects me personally, but because I feel it affects the character of the township. So and then Councilman Sears shared how we're losing all our trees. We went from 29% already up to 49% in just 5 years' time. So I'm sure that other residents will share their concerns as well. But if it goes to the zoning board, we're going to lose, because they'll come with some kind of caveat for affordable housing, just like with the cell tower. You just can't find it.
1 minute left, Mrs. Ferrara.
Thank you. It goes to the court, and the court sends it back to the community and says, make it work. And that's what we're concerned about. The developer still has it up. In his ad, he says senior housing allowed in this zone. So he's going to leverage what we've already done to make the township beautiful, and we'll lose a beautiful field. So it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I appeal to you, council. Please buy the property.
Thank
So
you.
that's it.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come up? Sure. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Saba Khan, and my address is 486 Jackson Avenue, Washington Township. I lived here not 55 years, but 7 years with my 2 boys. They're 10 and 13. They're going to Washington School, and my younger one, Ramadan's approaching, and that's the reason why I'm here. My younger one takes pride in fasting, and he tells his friends what he's doing every time he's fasting during Ramadan. And I said to him, I'm like, I did the same thing. And yes, I did the same thing, but nothing has changed beyond that. I would send food to my neighbor, Tina, over there, and that was the most I did, and Mr. Rick. And that was my way of sharing my holiday. And this year, I've noticed that the map I just shared with you guys, it shows the towns in Bergen County that are approved for this lighting display that our community has proposed. We want to do a little lighting display of of some sort, something we can come up with. The pictures I shared shows what Franklin Lakes did and Paramus did. It's a little crescent. That will be on from the beginning of the holiday when Ramadan starts, March 22nd, and towards the end of the month, which is April 21st or 22nd. So we're at lunar calendar, so that date is in the air. We'll figure it out.
Okay.
But with that said, we also want to propose to do a crescent lighting ceremony, a little ceremony where we light a crescent and welcome Ramadan with our community. There is a lot of diversity in this town. That's one of the reasons why we kind of thrive and share our holidays. We're comfortable in doing that. So with that, I would love to see more than just schools. I'm doing a reading in his class, and he's very proud of me, and he's like, can I take the floor? Can I say something? So to see his friends come out and light that crescent light, that would be huge to not just me, but all of our friends here. So I would really wish we could do that this year. It would be great. I also want to invite all of you and anyone that's here that would like to come to a charity dinner that I've arranged with my friends. It's a Ramadan charity dinner. I thought it'd be a great way of us, Washington Township and Westwood, get together and give back to a local charity. It's called Grace's Golden Ribbon. That's where we'll open our fast and do a little toy drive for the kids and kind of share our food, culture, and show us what we do. So that's it.
Council President?
Thank you so much. Hang on one second. Can you stop there?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead.
Could you give us a diagram or what type of a thing you would like to put in front of Town Hall to light up?
Yeah, sure. I think the pictures kind of show the proposal.
It's very small. That's
Very
as small as
small.
you're looking to do? Same
No,
type of
the
thing?
crescent would be, we can share more pictures of the crescent of what we would
Would
like
that
to
be the
light.
same height and width?
Not exactly. So yeah,
Okay.
I'll give you the details on that. As far as the whole display goes, we can come up with something. But I think the lighting, because we don't have time, it starts within 2 weeks. The safest bet would be to do the spirals for now. And then, yeah, we can come up with the proper display.
I'll make a motion when we receive the information that we bring it to the next and it starts March the 22nd?
Yes.
Yes.
I
So we
think-
have
March
a
6th.
March meeting, we could, if you can have it for our next March meeting,
I think we can do the green and white lights, spirals. That would be the,
where would you
For
put the
this year,
spiral?
you're saying? For this year?
yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Just to symbolize it, you could put it
Yeah,
anywhere
I
on the
mean,
front.
I would suggest that that would be a great idea to do. Since we are a diverse community, and we do have our holidays, Christmas and
Right.
Rosh Hashanah, I would be honored to be there
Hanukkah.
with you when you light it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I commend you, and I know your son is very proud of you. Okay.
Council President?
Yes.
real quick. I'm happy, from the public affairs side to help coordinate that as well. I'll speak to the mayor since he does lead the department, and then we can work with the DPW, see what we can do. And they usually plan out all the decorations. Okay?
Yeah.
So,
Ms. Khan, when you have a minute after, if you would like, we're going to take a break, I guess, in a little while. If you could leave us your phone number also so we can get in touch with you. That'd be great. Thank you. Is there anyone else? Yeah.
And your email address too, please?
We'll get information.
Okay.
thank you.
You're not selling it anyway, are you?
Thank you.
Mike Agnello, 667 Mason Street, Township of Washington. I dropped off some papers here that I have found. I'm doing as much legwork as I can to get information to the council to know what my concerns are. My concerns don't lie in the corner corner lots that are taking place with the zoning board. My problem is in the waterway behind my house. Mark, you sent me an email saying that it's been recommended that we go to the zoning board. I'm asking the council to keep it in our administrator and our engineer's hands to come up with answers. I show you there, the top paper shows our engineer getting an approval back in 2012 on the waterway. This was done by our engineer. Statiel, I believe his name was. A little further back, you're going to see the exact same office giving a unrestricted appeal determination of the waterway. So we have two engineers submitting paperwork to the state. One was our engineer, and one was the applicant for the corner property. All I'm asking from the town to do with our engineer and administrator is determine who's right, okay? Our engineer in 2012 had no reason to falsify any records. We also showed the administrator and your town engineer maps on where we felt the information given in 2019 wasn't correct. Both your engineer and administrator seem to agree with us. So I'm asking the council to please keep them on it. Don't send me to the zoning board. The zoning board has no budget to hire engineers to look into this. They can only ask the applicant to put up $10,000 or $20,000 to try to get his decision reversed, and I'm willing to bet that the applicant's going to say no, okay? I don't have the resources to do it. This is a waterway that goes into our water system that needs to be protected by the DEP for pollutants and other problems that take place. Our engineer said it was a C1 waterway. Prior to anything ever happening here in 2008, it was always a Class 1 waterway. This all took place with the changing of the property ownership. I need the town to represent myself, everyone on Mason Street, up the river, up to Jacqueline Woods, on Burke, and so on. We all want answers, and asking you to please protect us. If you give it to the zoning board, I can't fight the zoning board. I can't even speak at a meeting. I can only ask questions to who's ever there that night. So sending me there does nothing. It just kills it. So I'm asking you, last month you said, you asked the administrator, you asked our people to get answers for us. I'm asking you, please stay with your commitment to get answers for the people on Mason and Burke and everybody up into the Jacqueline Woods. Protect the waterway, has nothing to do with the property behind me.
Council
Thank you.
President, may I ask him a question?
Yes,
Mr. Agnello,
stay there, because
correct me if I'm wrong.
You're never wrong.
Did not the mayor at that time, Janet Sopkowitz, go to the DEP and get this waterway reversed because it was reversed once before by the pending applicant that's working now?
And it was done with her engineer.
And it
Mr.
was done
Sheffield.
with Statiel and her, so the mayor, the council had to agree.
And I'm also assuming that one of our attorneys were involved to sign off on it,
Yes,
okay?
because the mayor wouldn't do it on her own without having an attorney.
Exactly. And I can't imagine that Statiel, and I've Googled him, he's an excellent engineer, made any mistakes. His firm is highly recommended. It's not a highly qualified thing he was trying to do here. And he was working for the town. I think the town needs to protect the town. You can't let an applicant come in and reverse a municipality's application, at least without discrediting our own engineer. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
is there anyone coming up? Yes, please. Hang on just 1 second. You can stay there, but just 1 second.
Just real quick, Councilwoman Feeney sends her regrets that she has a weak signal and has left the meeting, so she apologizes.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Hi. Anthony Udina, 876 Ridgewood Boulevard East. On the agenda, you have a closed session tonight. Will you be returning into open session afterwards?
I'm not sure. We could be. I did ask that question. Mr. Pollard, how do I answer that?
Well, you do have the ability to come out. I think if you have any thought or any possibility that you could come out, I think you should advise the public that there is a possibility that you can come out. And so they should, if they want to hang around and be there, they should be, have the opportunity.
Do you anticipate it?
Excuse me?
Do you anticipate it, though?
I'm not the one, it's.
Yeah, I'm not-
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure. I'm sorry.
Next thing, I sent the mayor, council, and administration an email on February 13th regarding a conference agenda item at the February 6th council meeting, specifically master plan land uses, i.e. 450 Pascack Road, parentheses SC. I was just wondering if anybody had a response to that, if there's more clarification on it. It was a very quick discussion, and from what I understand, it was just to familiarize yourself with zoning for certain properties and stuff like that. I'm guessing 450 Pascack. So is there any clarification on that? It was very quick, and I was wondering if there's any discussion on that.
Madam President, I'll take that one. Yeah, I put it on the agenda, so the council was aware of all the planning that we had in the past from the planning board, just to make sure everyone was aware of what the zoning is in different sections of the town. That's all, it was just generalized.
I thought there
So it
was
was
gonna be,
nothing
like,
specific for
It
any
was nothing
particular
for a
property.
discussion.
No, it was just for informational purposes. So we're all
Informational
aware. It's on our website.
Yeah.
The master plan. So I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the council that there it is, and if we have any questions, we can always refer back to that. And that's all it was.
Okay, just a reminder.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's all.
The last thing I want to talk about is basically, it's regarding 450 Pascack, and I just want to talk about the topic of impervious area. And looking at the application that was last submitted in February of 2020 for a 48-unit facility, or whatever it is, basically, you may already know this, but impervious area is area that does not allow fluid to pass through it. So looking at the current impervious area of 450 Pascack Road on that application, it comes to just over 5,000 square feet. And post the application, if that happened, it would jump from 5,000 to about 51,000 square feet. So I just wanted to basically talk about that. That is a pretty big increase, a net increase of 45,000 square feet, and basically with impervious area, when it rains or, you know, we have a bad storm or something like that, it doesn't flow through, it's got to go somewhere. It can go to the school, it could go to people's basements, it could flow into the system, go downstream. I just have a concern for like the lake community around there. That's pretty much a low point where a lot of that downstream water would go. It's a lot of impervious area, so it's got to go somewhere. And, you know, allowing something or a development happening like that would just, it's just bad. You know, we know the school flooded. You know, we really don't want that to happen again. You know, thankfully, you know, George School accommodated everybody, and that was great. You know, it's just a net increase of 45,000 square feet. That's over an acre of impervious area. So I just wanted to say that, and, you know, the water's got to go somewhere, and hopefully it doesn't cause more problems specifically for the people around the lake. They post a lot. I've seen videos of people with issues around that area, around the waterway that's there, and it's pretty bad. So that's the only thing I wanted to say about 450 Pascack, so thank you.
Thank you. Come on. No one's up there. Right? Oh, there's a hand up. After this person.
Good evening, everybody. Brian Sinclair, 864 Ridgewood Boulevard East. I'd like to bring up something that Councilman Sears brought up last meeting about the tree canopy. When I think the numbers were in 5 years, it went from 27% to 49%, is that correct? And to me, that's shocking. And so we see how important trees are. And I ask, when these tree service guys come in, is there anyone checking them? Because you need a permit to cut a tree down in town, right? Is it a police
If I
officer?
may answer that?
Of course. Just,
Do you need a permit to cut a tree down?
1 second.
okay.
May I answer? Yes, we just instituted a new ordinance that each tree vendor must register with the township. They get up to 5 permits, and they have to follow the rules and regulations that are stipulated in the ordinance, and that is now followed up by the code official to make sure that they followed what was on their permit.
Okay, thank you.
It took us a while to get it, but now it's now in place.
Okay. Getting back to 450, I know we've been here a lot trying to conserve open space, and I'm just wondering what will happen if we don't, if that whatever developer comes in and he takes that land, with all those 250 trees there, I'm really concerned about flooding, because I've had time, maybe 3-4 times a year when you get heavy rains. 450 is elevated above all our homes, so the water just pours down, and it comes down our driveways, it comes down, ends up going on Ridgewood Boulevard East, and I have 2 sewers on my side, two sewers on the other side, and there are times when it just can't even keep up with the water, and it comes up the driveways, but luckily, we haven't had anything where it got into the house or anything like that. So I just really ask that we really, those trees are not just pretty to look at, they do a lot of things, those trees there, so please think about the flooding too. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there someone on the?
Yes.
Oh, just 1 second. I'm going to take someone on the computer. Just give me 1 second. Thank you.
Hello? You need to unmute yourself.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Hi, good evening. Laura Sinclair, 864 Ridgewood Boulevard East, here in the township. President Morgan, I know you were concerned on how the purchase of 450 could financially affect the residents of the Township of Washington. After an inquiry to the borough administrator and mayor, I was advised that a home assessed at approximately $465,000, estimated market value of Zillow, $650,000, would have a tax increase of approximately $16 a year to purchase 450 if 100% of the purchase price was fully financed. Home assessed approximately $340,000 with an estimated market value of $550 would have an approximate tax increase of $12 a year if 100% of that price is fully financed. It was very inspiring to listening to the grant writer at the last meeting and for all he has done for the swim club. He also advised on the February 6th meeting, should the township purchase 450, he could apply for a grant at the next funding round, which would be April, to defray the cost of 450 purchase. Should the property get purchased by the council, the grant writer could also go back and apply for additional grants for park development and recreation. The grant writer advised they readily expect us to go back to apply for more grants. Should we choose not to, we will go to the bottom of the list. I could only hope that when the council members vote on the purchase of 450, that they look to see objectively what's the best interest for the land, for the residents, and the opportunities the property could be utilized to better Memorial Fields and the opportunities the land can bring for the township residents. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Any comments or questions, Mrs. Morgan?
Mrs. Sinclair, thank you. I'm listening to what you've said. I'm taking it all into consideration. And no, at this time, I don't have any questions, but thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Is there anyone else that would like to come up?
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I am really still thinking about what she said. Would you like to speak?
Yes, I would. Hi, my name is Matthew DeGalli. I live on 749 Wayne
Sorry.
Place.
What was your last name?
DeGalli.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Want me to spell it for you? D-O-G-A-L-I. I live on Wayne Place, and I heard rumors that the town is planning to put in sidewalks on that street and surrounding blocks as well. First of all, I'd like to know if that rumor is true. Second, if it is true, how come anybody on the street in the neighborhood haven't been notified? Can anybody address that? And I know the last time I was here representing my street, I went through the sidewalk issue. It seems like it goes in cycles.
Yeah.
And I think the only person on this council who was here last time was Steve.
That's correct, and at the last meeting, I did bring up that was something we talked about years ago.
Right, and it was even before that, too.
Yeah,
I moved in town.
like you said, it's cycles.
It's
Okay, we have a
cycles.
problem with parking, sidewalks, and then we talked about doing
There's
paths.
also other issues where my wife brought to my attention that some of these mothers, after school, they like to socialize with other mothers, which is okay, it's fine, but they don't keep an eye on the kids. Kids run around on the properties, my neighbor's property, and if they don't keep their eye on the kids, sometimes those kids can run into the street and the car come up and run. And I don't want to be blamed for that. They think they should just have a stern warning from the school to the teachers to let the kids know or let the parents know that they should really, they're not there to have a social climate with the parents, with the mothers. They should actually just go ahead, pick up the kids, go home. I'm just very frustrated with these mothers coming here, on the phone, or on the other mothers, and then the kids run around. They might have issues with the kids, they can't control. I don't know.
Respond to that.
So I'd like to know if the only reason I lived in this town, I lived since 1999. It's the very suburban town, and by putting sidewalks, it's going to change the whole dynamics of the whole neighborhood. It's like going to be acidified, and I just don't like the idea that you guys are going to be surprising us. Oh, we're going to have sidewalks on the street.
Yeah, I don't think that there's no plans in place, and I'm pretty sure we've all learned that we're going to be sending notices whenever we do anything. So,
We'll learn that.
yeah, I think it was a rumor or just conversation that you heard.
I don't know. I heard it through some police officers. They said that you guys might be planning on doing so. I just want to get clear the air and find out from the council itself.
Well, as soon as we know, we promise to let you know. That's not anything that we've been told, so,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Oh, but one more thing. The issue about 450, I think one way to solve the issue and make everybody happy is reduce the developer's incentive to buy 44 units built. Let them keep it zoned at the one family, we'll change it to two family. And then after that, keep the first 100 feet wide and 200 feet up. The rest of it, the town should buy. And you keep everybody happy. It's an idea.
It's a good idea.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Council President Moran, if I could just comment on the sidewalk. I don't want anybody to appear deceitful or that I'm not saying anything knowing differently.
Okay.
It is part of a proposal for the 2023 budget to bring forward. So I didn't know if it's appropriate to bring a budget conversation to the dais outside of the budget.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Yes.
So, there you have it. Thank you.
That's interesting.
You-
Because my name is DeGalli, 749 Wayne Place. Again, with the sidewalks, as you know, many years since I've been living here, there were rumors. Wayne Place is tight, I'll tell you right now. I don't understand this whole idea of having 3 vehicles parking on Wayne. There should be no parking on Wayne Place whatsoever during school time. No parent should be parked on that street. There's the loop around, you have School Street, I mentioned to you, Mr. Sears, many times. That property is dead trees. You're talking about nice trees and everything, that's dead trees. Trees are falling, garbage is around. You go up School Street, that little section, that little hill, that, you can make a loop around that and let the mothers or parents go around, drop their child off and go. In Hillsdale, New Jersey, George School, Smith School, they're in a parking lot. The parents go around, drop the children off in the parking lot, and the children go and they leave. There's no parking in Hillsdale on this either. So my suggestion is to have no parking on Wayne during the day, and just go fix that loop. Even, you know, I don't know whose property it is that the town's property, or is that the
Half and
school's
half.
property?
It's
I don't know.
Yeah, split down the middle between the school and us.
Right, so if you could just clear that away and just make a loop, and then just go down, have all the cars, and have a teacher or teacher's aides or something be outside, let the children in. Because I remember when my son was little, we used to stand by the park, you know, in the parking lot, and they used to go into the rows, and every school, like kindergarten and fourth, you just wait until you go in. And if something could be done like that, that's what I have to say.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President. Just so in case nobody's aware, because I know nobody has children in Washington School, kindergarten isn't allowed to walk out and meet the parents. So you have to park and go grab your child.
Okay.
So for kindergarten, at least, that is not a possibility per the school's regulation.
Okay.
And then parents have a choice. They have to sign something for the younger ones, if they want them to be released or if you have to pick them up at the door. So those are, you know, two obstacles that we'd have to face with the school.
Right, and the school board, I'm sure, would be open to and amenable to some of these suggestions and ideas, and that's probably the best place to start since they own that.
So.
Anyone else? Another
Yes.
hand? Just, we could, the smaller ones are fine. Yeah, thank you.
My name is Nicole Vogel, and I live at 877 Ridgewood Boulevard East. I'm here to talk about 450 Pascack. I handed out, this is a listing for 450 Pascack that maybe some other residents or the council have not seen yet. You can just Google it. It, you know, comes right up. It's on LoopNet. And basically, it says right on it, which I don't have my copy, but I'll try to remember. It first starts saying that it's a rare opportunity to use undeveloped land in Bergen County. And it's 3.2 acres and, you know, all these things that, possibilities that you could do with it. It says right on it that there is something about senior housing, and it does say per board approval. So I do understand it doesn't say that it's fully approved, but this is the impression that the listing agent and developers are getting about this property. So whether it's the same developer that's been there or other developers, it's showing this property in a way that is presenting itself to be developed. And if you click down on, it's in the first section, it says redevelopment. Now, it does give other options when you do read into it, saying it could be a single home, it could be this. But for the price point at, I think it was 2.1 million, yeah. I don't think somebody's going to buy it for that price, build a single home. They wouldn't make any money, so I don't think that's really a feasible option. So I was just hoping that you guys will look at it, and that maybe some other residents could also see how it's being presented, and it's being presented as something that would take away from the beauty of our town. And yeah, I hope people, you know, look into it and see. I did have a question too about last meeting that it was on the agenda, but you know, I was unclear what it meant. So I did take the time and I tried to read and decode what was in the master plan, and that stuff, it's a little confusing, not confusing, but it's a lot to try to understand as, you know, somebody that doesn't do this every day. So maybe in the future, if there's going to be like further explanation of that. I understand it's there. I know we're not gonna like recite the whole master plan, but for people that live in town, I understand what it's trying to say, but then again, I'm not exactly sure. So if maybe there could be some further clarification as to what we mean about that property specifically, possibly. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Sue, the person online. I'm just going to take the person called in first.
Hello, Mike Warful, 880 Crest Place. Calling about a number of different things. One, I think it was Mr. Agnello. If I butchered your last name, I apologize. But I was on the zoning board during the CVS application. So Mr. Statiel was put on because there was considered to be a conflict of interest for Paul Azzolina to be the engineer of record. We didn't get a choice in that. He was appointed by the mayor at the time, and he went on his own to update the maps for through the DEP. No one asked him to do that. No attorney on the board. Ken Pollard didn't ask him to do that. That was something that he decided to do based on his knowledge of the Hillsdale maps and what he considered was an omission by the applicant. So this is something that's a little bit subjective, but I just wanted you to be aware because it's 2 meetings in a row I've heard you talk about that. It falls on the DEP, to the best of my understanding, sitting on that board. It really isn't something that the town kind of challenges unless they're paying for an attorney to do it for some reason. And unfortunately, for you in your situation, it would appear as if the applicant for Four Seasons has presented new maps and the DEP has made a different determination. So I just wanted to kind of give some color because I heard Tom mentioning that we were involved and unfortunately we were not. That was that was just part of an application that happened. I hear a lot of talk about 450 Pascack Road, and I actually was on the board when an application went in and then was subsequently pulled. So I know Mr. Ardina mentions an application in the impervious space, but there is no current application, to the best of my knowledge, submitted. I know Ken is here on the call. I don't know if he would be aware of it, but Ken, is there any application that is currently submitted that is under purview through this?
No, there's nothing that I'm aware of on file that's pending. So there's nothing that I'm aware of.
Okay. And then is there anything that came of the valuation and the talk of making a proposal to purchase that land? And I understand some of this takes place in closed session, but was there anything that was publicly announced that you made a bona fide offer to 450 Pascack? Or, I know there was talk of eminent domain. I don't know what you can get into, but I'd like to get some color because it seemed like that was on the agenda a lot and then it just seems to disappear a little bit.
Council President, you want me to answer that?
Yes, you can if you have the answer.
Okay, so the property was appraised. Was appraised for, I think it was $430,000. Under condemnation law, you have to offer the fair market value for the property. We did that. We offered it. It was, and then there's a requirement for there to be negotiations to possibly avoid going through the condemnation process. That's what's been going on. And more than that, I really don't know that I can actually talk further, but I can say that nothing's been decided. That I can say.
Gotcha. Okay. No, I just wanted to get what we could get out of that. And then just as a comment, I think Diane has done wonderful things for this town, and I know her advocacy well because it's appeared in front of the zoning board on numerous occasions when I was on it. But the zoning board does also have a say in these matters. And I think, a lot of the rhetoric that I'm hearing, kind of probably doesn't make the people who sit on that board currently feel too great. because they do make decisions based on the public. I do think that we had some influence in conjunction with your influence on how that project shaped with the tennis club. I think there's a two-way street. And I'm not on the board, so I can make these comments. I think the application, even though it never really got through the review stage of what was at 450, really stood no chance whatsoever, in my estimation of, moving forward. It just had a lot of problems with it. But it doesn't mean that you can't advertise something as potential. I mean, every commercial use just about in this town is, R1. It's all non-conforming. Season sits on R1, the dental office sits on.
1 minute left, Mr. Warfel.
Okay, gas station. So it's just, I don't want people to lose sight of the fact that, the zoning board will look at this stuff and that, there is no current application. So, there's a lot of cost, especially concession stand, et cetera, the grading over there. I think that's what Miss Morgan is really looking at, is that, if we bought that and made full use of it, it would be expensive. And the more logical purchaser, to be honest, is the Board of Ed, because they're going to need that driveway that wraps around to make it a lot easier for parents to pick up kids. And they should be the ones trying to purchase that, in my opinion, or at least in conjunction with the town. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Warfel. Thank you. I don't know who was first. You can come on up.
Hi, Mike Proto, 850 Ridgewood Boulevard East. I just wanted to talk a little bit kind of as a parent tonight. I heard what Chief Skinner had to say the last time about the traffic and congestion problems at Washington School during pickup times. I've been taking my kids there. I have 2 girls. I've been taking them there 7 years now. My younger one is in 5th grade. So it's evolved to the point where I have luckily been able normally to pick up my daughter at school during pickup times. But lately, it has just become a disaster. And I know, Councilwoman Velez, I've seen you walk and pick up your child there too, so you see it. And I would welcome all of you to come. Please come see what happens after school at pickup time. Last year, there was double parking going on everywhere. And I know that ended up being a impetus for the police presence being beefed up, and I welcome that. But I feel like this is kind of beyond them, because as I think Mr. DeGalli said, he lives on Wayne. There's people on his property. There's concerns about moms, kids walking. There's not a lot of room in that narrow little strip to the right when people are walking. Whenever I've been on that street going towards the school, I go really, really slow. So I think big picture, when you think about the school being expanded in the future, more enrollment, more cars, more people. Again, School Street, the other section that is adjacent to Jackson, where there's the cul-de-sac, jam-packed, cars are bleeding out to Jackson. Sometimes I see cars on both sides of Jackson, which only leaves a narrow spot when cars are going both ways. It's bad. So I don't envy where you are as a council looking forward to what's going to happen there, but I think this is a big factor in consideration for 450, because if there's consideration for joining the 2 parking lots and going around the school, you're going to need that area to do so. So I just wanted to make sure that I wanted to bring that to your attention. I mean, I've seen a car accident there on the way to pick up my kid one day too. So it's pretty bad. And again, I welcome you guys to come take a look at it and see for yourself what goes on there after school. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, Tony, I'll get you right after.
Hi, Jim Walsh, 713 Burke Street, Washington Township. I'm here in support of Mike with regards to that tributary. I agree we can address this from the Board of Adjustment, a lot of our concerns before hopefully you guys get involved if you have to. But just a little history so that you kind of know where I'm coming from. I moved to town in 2007. I've been here for 15 years. Most of that 15 years, this tributary has been a concern of mine. In 2009, a neighbor on Meissen inadvertently filled in a portion of this waterway, whatever, tributary, ditch, whatever they want to refer to it as. Inadvertently filled it in while he was doing some home renovations. Within just a few short days and a few rainfalls, the water backed all the way up onto my property on Burke Street. So much so that my swing set pretty much collapsed. And I came down in front of the mayor and council, and I made a presentation. Mr. Azzolina was there, and I forget all the members at that time. But the mayor and council jumped into action. Within days, I had Mr. Azzolina on the property, I had the mayor on the property, the councilman on the property. Everybody was up there trying to figure out why my problem was happening. Mr. Azzolina issued a notice of violation to the owner on Meissen Street, had him remove the soil. They sent the DMF up to de-snag that trench that runs, from my property down through my neighbors along the south end of Northgate, eventually through Meissen and along the back of these properties. So at that time, the mayor and council thought it was, big enough issue to protect a homeowner's backyard from flooding. Okay. I was there in 2012 when Chris Teal did his work, and it was designated a C1, and I thought this was all over. Okay, I was pretty happy at that time. So to find it back in front of the Board of Adjustment again, I was a bit concerned. So I have a background in site development. I'm a real estate developer myself. I speak these terms fluently, and I'm going to try to keep some of it dumbed down here. But when I was looking at the application for the DEP, first every application that they submitted, it was about a commuter parking lot, 137 spot commuter parking lot. I did an open request. I have emails from the DEP where they said, you have to show the public good. You have to show the public good. There's no application at the DEP that says anything about a retail mall. It's only about a commuter parking lot. So I don't know how that plays, but I don't know if Mike gave you copies of that, but I provided Mike some of those copies. So I don't know what the retail center would be in terms of a public good as opposed to a commuter parking lot. But I tried to figure out how did they go from 50 plus acres to 48.2? I mean, we're just underneath that 50-acre threshold. Well, I didn't have to go far to figure it out. All I had to do was walk out my front lawn, all right, and look to my right and look into Northgate. Northgate is a development of 16 acres, all right? As we all know, going to Board of Adjustment meetings, new developments have to control their water. Northgate was no exception. All of Northgate's 16 acres has to be controlled by them, brought into the system. This applicant, with this retail mall being proposed, cut off about 2 acres right outside my front door in the southwest corner of Northgate. I have maps here from my 2009 trip to the mayor council. I did an open request at Bergen County. I have the Bergen County approved site plan for Northgate. I compared the two. I'd like to give you guys copies of them because I understand we have to go to the Board of Adjustment. I'm fine in that venue. I can try this argument, the same argument next Tuesday night. I'm giving it to you tonight. But both in October, I brought up this question, and I questioned the applicant's engineer, and I also asked Mr. Azzolina the question. Mr. Azzolina's position, and I forgot that he was not allowed on the last one, but the DEP has jurisdiction, we're done. Like, there was no questioning that rule, that certification. This is Mr. Azzolina saying the DEP made a jurisdiction, a call, and I have no position to challenge that. Well, I'm sorry, he's the Board of Adjustment, I'm not sure of that relationship, but and then he said that subsequently in another meeting to another resident who had a similar question to mine. So if we can't even get the Board of Adjustment engineer to kind of work with us, I don't know where else we can go but back to the mayor and council. So if I can quickly just hand these out and then.
Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Whoop, got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you take each of these maps, there's one's marked in the Najarian map, put Najarian to the top of the page, and turn the other page sideways, and it says Northgate. If you're an engineer or a site developer or something like that, or someone good at reading plans, you can look, the yellow highlighted areas are the areas that they eliminated from the drainage area. Okay, the black line is the 48.2 they call. They cut off, if you look, it's kind of hard to explain, but the green lines are the roads. The middle road is Burke Street. If you look into that yellow that I highlighted, you'll see a roof line of a building going north-south, and to the left, you'll see a building going east-west. You compare that to the site plan for Northgate, I highlighted over those roof lines and down those roof lines. And this area goes all the way up to the Jacqueline Woods, where the elevation is 130, and the elevation down here is about 106. There's also present on the Northgate site plan a lawn inlet catching all this water. So that's my presentation. I'm going to go to the Board of Adjustment with the same information, although I'm told I can't present this type of information to the board because it's not cleared apparently, but we'll go see what we can do there. But I would hope that just like in 2009, the mayor and council jumped in and because it's homeowners are flooding, and the flooding's not getting any better. Our storms are getting more fierce, and we're all dealing with it all over town. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Council President Morgan, if I could
Yes.
just provide some information. I wasn't able to have a full conversation with Mr. DeSena, Chairman of the Zoning Board of Adjustments today. However, he is aware of the information Mr. Walsh brought forward in regards to the appeal that was made to DEP being in regards to the commuter lot in the 126. So he's full aware of that information.
Okay, great.
Just to let you know. And also, most are concerned, the other gentleman that's in the back, I'm sorry, sir, I forgot your last name. He lives on the end of Meissen. He's concerned because the overflow of water that comes out of Northgate. I sent Northgate an email today. I hope to sit down with another meeting with them, my first meeting with them. But Mr. Yakimic has been in touch with them regarding this since early fall. And it just appears that there was maybe possibly no follow-through from Northgate. But I'm not sure if that's 100% accurate. So we are going to get to the bottom of that as well.
All right, Mr. Carlo, I just want to say that it's refreshing that you are so on top of everything. For me, this is, sometimes it's not always the news we want to hear, but at least you're giving updates in real time, so I appreciate that on behalf of the residents, actually. Is there anyone else that would like to, I'm sorry, you were first. I said before.
Tony Plantamura, 808 Robinwood Road. I'm basically standing here supporting and giving a little history lesson to everyone that's here on the subjects that are very important in this town, because I've been in this town since 1956. That C1 waterway that Mike's talking about, as a matter of fact, I was the first class in Our Lady of Good Counsel in 1961, and Mike came shortly after, so I've known Mike since he was a little kid. And he speaks the truth, and there was a C1 waterway designation there. Grace Hogan led that fight when they tried to put a CVS in over there. Somewhere in my house, I have the copies that he has on that paperwork. What concerns me is all of a sudden that designation disappeared, which comes to the clear fact that it has nothing to do with any of you up there. You were not there. I don't know what transpired since, but this is why people lose trust in government. I'm sorry, but from an outsider looking in, it looks kind of fishy to me that all of a sudden that waterway disappeared. Somebody must have shook somebody's hand, paid somebody off, and all of a sudden there's no waterway designation anymore. Shame on whoever did that, but in my heart, I feel that's what happened. The owner of Seasons has been here for a while. He bought all those houses on Pascack Road. We all knew that somewhere along the line there was going to be something developed. And for those of you who don't know, I'm probably the only one in town that does know this, that used to be a farm there, and we used to get produce there in that corner. Now it's become a fiasco. So he is correct. That is designated a C1 waterway. I do have the paperwork too. He is correct in that, and shame on anybody that thinks that the people that live right there have no rights and should have this monstrosity built. And then the other thing I remembered reading in the paper, because I haven't been here in a little while, is the fact that somebody actually got up and did a traffic study that there was going to be no impact. Are you freaking kidding me? We are the talk on several, I am not on social media, but I have to sometimes read next door. I can't stand anymore. I'm not on social media. I can't stand yap, 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 back and forth. But we are the talk of the Pascack Valley area about our intersection that I believe is not going to be improved. It's inviting more traffic because there's no exit off of the parkway north of us. I think that's all we're doing is inviting more traffic with this massive development of every single town that is like a mini city here now. We have no rights anymore. I feel like we have no quality of life here. The other thing about Washington School, back in '59, I was the first class that entered that school, and my girlfriend and me were walking home, and right on Wayne Place, her foot was ran over by a car. Then my daughter went to school there in the 90s and the 80s, and somebody in her class, her foot was run over by a car. I led the charge to put sidewalks on there back in the 90s. Make a long story short, they didn't put the sidewalks in, obviously. But we have the same problems with the traffic and concern with parents standing outside. It is a disaster over there. I am sick and tired of the moms. Nothing against moms. I know we all raise our kids. They really are speeding in that area. They do double park. Nothing's been done. That white line that was painted in the road is due to the fact that I was the one that made the stink because the kids were getting out of control and they were possibly going to get hurt. And two people I just said I know, one in 1959, my girlfriend walking with her, her foot was ran over. Nothing is going to change there, I don't believe. It should, but the other thing is when you have Friday night football games there, I don't know how parking is allowed on both sides of the street. I can't even get down those streets anymore. I actually go around. It's just ridiculous. And to address the concerns of the people that are here from the area about developing the foliage and everything, the trees along 450 Pascack Road, that will have an impact on flooding. Everybody always talks about the floods. I think the state is contributing to the flood in this because they talk about the environment, but all they do is cut down 1,000 trees to put up more development, to raise more taxes to pay for police, fire, and school districts, and we're not getting anywhere. I used to sleigh ride on that. There used to be 4 hills on that Washington School, and then there was a big hue when I led the charge to get artificial turf. I stopped that because I know that there was no flooding on that field prior to them smoothing out that whole terrain and getting rid of those hills because we didn't have a problem. So if they get rid of all the foliage there now, guaranteed you will have flooding there. For the people that live there, you will have flooding because that's what happened to the field at Washington School. We had no flooding there until they corrected all that surface there. So it's just a history that's happened, and I don't think it goes away. People get up here and they argue and they stress their concerns, but nothing really changes. But that C1 waterway concerns me the most because all of a sudden I think somebody got paid off. To make it perfectly clear, somebody did something wrong and you need to step up because it's not the answer to go back to the zoning board. And some of the zoning board members don't even talk. I used to be in the zoning board. Nobody talks anymore. I don't know if they know anything about zoning, but nobody's talking.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come up?
My name is Isabel. I don't know if you can hear me because I couldn't hear anything back there with these microphones, by the way. It's very hard to hear.
No?
From any of you.
Can you hear back there?
Very difficult to make out the words. Can anybody hear me now?
Now, yes.
Okay,
Bring it
see?
a little bit lower and closer to you. A little bit lower.
Here?
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Well, good evening. My name is Isabel Iglesias. I live at 443 Pascack Road. I've been there since 1981, so nearly 42 years. And I live directly across from 450 Pascack Road, which I've been staring at dilapidated property for years. Okay? Nobody in this town ever did anything about it. Okay? He should have been fined or that should have been condemned ages ago. It's unbelievable. And I know John, okay? And he goes and cleans everybody else's sidewalks and lawns and snow and what have you. But his property, he doesn't take care of that. So anyway, everybody has already pretty much said what I want to say, so I'm not going to be too repetitive. I just wanted to say that I strongly support the purchase of that property by the town. I 100% agree with all of the points outlined in the letter of February 2nd, 2013, that was sent by Diane Ferrara to the township on behalf of the members of Stopover Development. It's very detailed. It covers pretty much all the points. And all of the things that this lady just said, and I'm sorry I didn't catch her name. I know all the things she's talking about, so thank you for saying all that. I think we need foresight, okay? I know that it's going to cost us a little money, okay? But honestly, a $16 increase or something like that in yearly taxes is what most people spend on a couple of cups of Starbucks in a day or two, okay? Sometimes you have to invest in something to protect our future, and I think that we need to do that. What we will do exactly with the property, I don't know, but definitely part of it has to be the trees have to stay there, and it should remain as a single-family zoning. It is zoned residential for one family house, okay? If we do not buy it, it is the threat of the developer coming in is real. He's been around before. I have copies of the initial plans that he brought in. I have them at my house. I didn't bring them. I think you probably have them already. Okay, that happened, what, a couple of years ago. They're still hanging around. Okay, so if we don't buy it, they're going to come in and buy it. And then they're going to present to you, and it's going to go to the zoning board, and they need a variance, and somebody's going to approve it. And then suddenly we have a building there. We're given a hard time. This town is supposed to be a bedroom community. We don't allow two-family homes here. We do not allow extended family homes where you could have a second kitchen, perhaps to house your parents. Okay? I mean, I know of the property close to me that everybody who came to see it wanted to know, oh, this is great. We can have an extended family here. And it's like, no, but no second kitchen, right? So if we don't allow things like that, why are we risking that suddenly a developer might come in, propose this building of 40-something units, which were, his initial proposal was rentals, by the way, okay, if I'm not mistaken. So then we're going to have rentals across the street from my house? I don't think so. The increase in traffic would be tremendous. This town is already overdeveloped, okay? We have the Washington Avenue and Pascack Road, by Seasons. I'm sorry, but Seasons doesn't care about our town. They care about their business, okay? There are things that are in my head that I'm not going to mention because I don't want anybody insulted, but they have not been friendly to the community. So they've had those houses there dilapidated for years. Why were they not fined? Why was it allowed to go on for... My time is up?
No,
One more minute.
Why was it allowed to go on for so long? And now those owners are always coming up with something new. Now they would have put it a strip mall. Why do we need a strip mall there? So if that gets approved, if we don't buy 450 Pascack, it's more and more traffic. We have the assisted living facility, which I think is nice, by the way. Okay? We have a bigger firehouse with the ambulance corps right at the same area. Okay? We needed that. Okay? But it's all there. Okay? How much more traffic? So what's the purpose of the improvement at that corner if we're going to go and reverse everything that has been improved because we already had a traffic problem? So I am hoping that, and by the way, this is not an insult, but I read the letter in Pascack Press about it being scare tactics about a developer coming in and that there's no application. You may not have an application from a developer now, but it's not scare tactics to think that a developer is going to come in and want to do what they want to do. That is not scare tactics. That's a reality. It's happening everywhere. Joyce Farm just got sold. They're going to build a huge development there, just a couple of miles up the road. okay? Soldier Hill Road, there's a huge development just with it. Everything, it's all around us. Plus, we have 2 new developments in town. So let's think about this. Well, you guys have to think about it because I can't vote. I know where I stand and what I would do. But it's not about today. It's about what's going to happen in the next few years, okay? It's going to cost us maybe a little bit of money now, but it will improve our quality of life in town. And whoever wants to come in and buy a home in our town, they want to see it. I moved in here because it was a bedroom community and it was beautiful. It's not looking like that anymore. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Terry Fasolino. I live at 11 Danbury Court. I'm not sure, I've lived in Washington Township for 5 years, and I'm not sure if this is the right platform, but I live in Washington Commons, and I pay as much taxes for my condo as I'm sure some homeowners do. I was just wondering, could you tell me what services are provided by the town to me for my tax base? I know 2 weeks ago we had the fire department on the development property. They did an excellent job in putting out a smoke condition, but are police able to patrol that area? Are we getting garbage pickup or snow removal?
To be completely honest, I'm thinking police will patrol or will respond, obviously, to all emergencies in township. I'm not sure what your maintenance, I used to own a condo. The maintenance covered our garbage.
Right.
I'm not familiar with your condo association or what we pay. If anyone else is, please speak up.
Maybe I can help.
I kind of was looking to you, Ken.
Okay.
So,
All right,
Mr. Fowler.
No, it's all right.
All right, so, condos are private developments, but they do get, if they wanted Title 39 to be implemented for their developments, the police are free to go in there and patrol and do, investigation, walk traffic, things of that nature. I believe that Washington Commons does have that. It's something that they could have. I don't recall, this was built like, I think, in the 80s. So, but that's easy to check to see if that's on record. In addition, as far as garbage is concerned, everybody has their own garbage. So everybody in town takes care of their own garbage. The town does not provide garbage because there's no difference between Washington Commons and the residents. The residents have their own garbage to take care of, and so does Washington Commons. A lot of years ago, a law was passed about equalizing township services or municipal services to condos, because basically, even though they were private developments and they were sold as private developments, they do pay the taxes and similar taxes as regular residents of single-family homes. So there was a category of services that was included that municipalities had to address with condo associations. It was a while ago when this law went in. Things like recycling was part of it, street lighting, hydrant service. There was a list, a laundry list of things. And what happened way back when was each condo association negotiated with the town for the arrangement that would work for them. There were certain things that some of the associations wanted, some they didn't want, and so on and so forth. But on file in the town are those agreements. So what you should do is just ask the clerk's office to give you a copy of the. You can do it through Oprah. You can get a copy of the agreement that applies to Washington Commons, and you'll find out about those services that arose from that statutory change that was made. And as I said before, the thing about the police, that should be of record as well, although that's not part of the agreement. That's something separate. I hope that helps.
No, that does. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Tommy Snee, and I live at 772 Koch Peak Avenue. Happy belated Valentine's Day. I'd like to know what's the council's plan to educate all shareholders in township as to the pervasive and deadly danger of fentanyl. It seems to be approaching epidemic proportions given that we have a president who's eviscerated any attempt to have an enforceable border. Is there a strategic, long-term, comprehensive plan of education, adoption, and prevention across the town? We can't control the disastrous border, but we can educate all shareholders in our community. It sure would be wonderful if the town council collaborated and partnered with the Westwood Regional School District to deliver programs highlighting the danger of fentanyl, which has been mentioned by Mr. Sears at several council meetings.
Oh, okay. So I'm just going to say our health department, right, Sue? This is something that we talked about when we were renewing the contract. This was one of the things that I'd wanted them to collaborate with the school to talk about and come up with programs. And isn't that something that?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's being done.
Okay, so it's kind of wait and see?
No, I believe it's being done,
It is
right?
being done.
They have programs and they have,
Because I haven't heard of anything from either body. And with 2 little kids in the school, it's kind of crazy.
what grade are your children, if you don't mind me
Second
asking?
and fourth.
Second and fourth. Okay.
So,
I'm not sure that they're having that conversation in second and fourth, but I will definitely
but
find
as a
out.
school community, I don't see
Yeah.
anything coming over via email from either the town or the Board of Ed.
Okay.
And I get emails from the Board of Ed for everything you can imagine, but
Okay.
nothing about something that's killing our kids.
I agree with you, 100%, and
I'll look into it.
thank you.
Okay.
Sue's going to look into it, find out if it's what they're doing, and then we can
Perfect.
let you know.
Great, thank you.
Do we, I'm sorry, can I?
Yeah, of course.
Do we have anything going on with the library? Is that possible to, you know?
I would like to find out what they've done already. Remember when we were negotiating with the help?
We could reach out to Municipal Alliance because they handle a lot of that. So, I mean,
To see
I have a
what's
meeting with Laura Thursday. I can follow up.
Yeah.
And keep,
It's like a joint effort by a few
let's-
different boards?
Yeah, let's find out what they're already doing, and then
And they might
definitely.
have partnered up too between the Northwest Bergen Health Commission and the
and
library.
Municipal
so-
Alliance, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd like to say thank you to Officer Tom, the Washington School SLEO, our Washington School Crossing Guards, and the Washington Township Police Department. Each day, they are in active attendance and try to enthusiastically manage the sheer chaos of drop-off and pickup. They've made several real improvements this year that have had an impact. However, given the repeated cluelessness and sense of real entitlement exhibited by some parents and grandparents, there's still so much more progress to be made. I want to thank Chief Skinner for the dedicated resources he provides to keep our learners safe every day. While there's no fixing the stupidity and obnoxious narcissism that is exhibited each day, Township Police, I believe, is doing everything they can. That being said, there's still that much more that needs to be done, because this needs to be better. I want to thank Dominic, his 2 sons, Dominic and Nick, and the original Italian Pizza staff for their support of the Pizza Pie Fraction Project and Mr. Goldman's 4th grade class at Washington School. Their kindness and generosity in enabling the students' learning efforts was greatly appreciated, and one more reason why they are truly a valued shareholder in the Washington School learning community. Thank you. I'd like to congratulate Mrs. Irene Fernagian and Mr. James Perino, who were recently elected to the Washington Township Board of Education. This completes the cycle of complete transition from the Legacy Board of Ed, and we now are on our 3rd Board of Ed president. Shifting gears, is there an identified price tag? I believe Mr. Warfel may have alluded to this before, for the purchase price of $450 by the town.
Mr. Poller, if you wanted to repeat what you said to Mr. Warfel.
Yes, we had the property appraised. I believe it was appraised at $430,000. The owner believes that is undervaluing the property. And so if there is a condemnation, there's a process that involves the appointment of 3 condemnation commissioners. There is exchange of appraisals and expert reports. There is a hearing before condemnation commissioners, and then the condemnation commissioners that will arrive at and set the price for the property in terms of proceeding with condemnation. Because the essence of condemnation is that the while the government has the right to take property, it has to pay fair market value for the property. And if you know anything about appraising properties or tax appeals or even selling property, there's a lot of play in what properties are worth at a given point in time. So that's where we are.
So I guess the rumored price of $500K to buy that is just that, it's rumored?
Well, the 500K is close to the 430. I mean, people are rounding it up, that's all. That's, and maybe they're throwing in bonding costs and stuff like that. So I don't want to say it's a rumor. 430 plus soft costs sounds pretty close to 500,000, no?
I'm willing to give you the extra 70 grand for sure.
Well, it's not the extra 70, what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that condemnation commissioners will decide what it's worth. They might decide it's worth that, or they may decide it's worth more. There's no way to tell without having a trial. It's a full trial on the issue of valuation.
So when would we know what the official value of that property or the stated value as per the process you just described?
But you have to proceed with the condemnation.
Okay.
Right now, we started the negotiation, which is required for condemnation, but a complaint and condemnation has not been filed yet, which would get the process going for the acquisition of the property under eminent domain.
Is anyone able to file that paperwork to start that process?
No, only the township.
Okay, very good. The reason I ask is in the simple math that I did, for $500,000 divided by 3,500 families comes out to about an average of $145 purchase price. Someone alluded before, we probably spend more on pizza and mozzarella sticks in my house than $145 a year, just to kind of put it in perspective. And with regards to that, has anyone been in contact with Dr. Mortimer, who's the superintendent, Mr. Rosato, who's business administrator, or Mr. Pontillo, who's president of the Washington Westwood School Board of Education?
No.
Because I think several people have talked about the viability of splitting the purchase, where Board of Education buying the top part. So if we do that, split it 50-50, we're now at about 250 to the town, 250 to the Board of Ed. So just something to think about. Again, switching gears, I was very active mind this morning. What's the latest update for the Washington Township Swim Club upgrade conversion? Haven't heard anything about that in a while.
Anyone would like to answer?
We accepted the grant. That's the only update that we have.
So there's, because I thought there was supposed to be another meeting where we were going to see more plans, or we were going to get an update. There was going to be updates to drawings. I thought.
We would love that.
Okay. Okay. Whose responsibility is that?
That would probably fall on the administration.
Right.
I guess I have no one to the right side to look at. I mean, so it was just the last meeting that they voted to accept the grant money. Our grant writer's right in the front row. He has some great ideas to bring forth to the council. The mayor has been working with Boswell Engineer for some type of site plan. We have some other grants that we're most likely going to try and shift to that property. So there is some ideas. I will certainly talk to the mayor and see when he plans on bringing forth something to the council and the community.
Because I guess the bottom line, and I've shared this frustration with you all before, our softball, baseball program is just screaming with kids. Lacrosse is just exploding. We don't have any place to put these kids. We don't have any fields for these kids to place on. And Saba, I got to tell you, I am jealous. The support you have here tonight, if I had this many moms and dads talking about softball and baseball fields, I'd be a happy guy, because I don't know what we're waiting for, because you're going to have Viviano project, that's going to be going up before we know it. Franklin, who knows what's going on there. And the bad news is, we've talked about this before.
55 seconds left.
Township is a place everybody wants to live. Lots of people are moving here, which is a good and a bad. We have a lot of people moving here, which is great, but we've got a lot of people with little kids that are moving here. That's bad. We're going to have an expansion of Washington School, probably starting in 2024. We don't have enough fields for the kids we have today. So I understand that we're waiting on grants, but When are we going to start having serious conversations about doing something here? The time is now. We don't, my kids are on teams where there's four teams for grade 4, 4 teams for grade 1, 2, 4 teams for grade 5, 6. I mean, what more do we need to know? I just don't understand. And last but not least, as I've shared with you guys, I go to Board of Ed meetings, and the last couple of meetings, the tone and tenor of this meeting was always something I counted on, where it was very respectful, it was very dignified in how you all treated each other. But the last couple of meetings have kind of brought me back to a place of Board of Ed meetings back in 2021 and 2022. I think I'm going to answer a question you didn't ask, and that's okay. I think we have to figure out how to get back to the way we talked to each other before. The tone and tenor of how we all treat each other. We all live in the same town. Our kids go to the same school. We go to the same bagel store, the same churches, the same temples. And just by the show of the folks here tonight talking about inclusivity, where we want to talk about a new holiday or a new celebration we want to add to our town. There's so many great things going on here, but we need you guys to figure out how to get along, how to be more respectful and more dignified with each other. If I'm out of line, I apologize. If I don't see you, everybody have a very happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you, you too. Mr. Snee, I just want to make one comment, if I can, just one quick comment. Actually, two. I think you know that we do support the baseball and softball fields. We would love to start that project tomorrow. We wanted to start it the moment we acquired the swim club. So I think you will have as much support from all of us up here. I think I can say that safely. And the second thing is, you're absolutely right. We do need to, do better, behave better while we're up here and at the Board of Ed meetings. But just like you, we're passionate, and unfortunately, it's hard to sort of pack that away when we're up here. We're still humans. We're not professional politicians. We're residents put in a position trying to kind of pack away our emotions while we express what's passionate to us too. So unfortunately, I hope that doesn't get lost. It may look like animosity, but at the end of the day, we're very good to each other. We just have to kind of reel it in, I guess, optically for the public. So thank you for that.
Council President,
Yeah.
if I can just comment. Mr. Snee, I hope you didn't misunderstand me. We're not waiting for a grant to bring forth plans. We were waiting for the decision of the council, which they made last meeting, to accept the grant money for open space and the provisions and restrictions that were put on the open space grant. So I think everybody, including the mayor, who's not here this evening, is very excited to bring forth plans. I don't think anybody's arguing with you with the need of more ball fields. I know the mayor's first proposal included 2 ball fields, but as you can imagine, just like yourself, everyone's sending us emails. We'd like to see bocce ball there. We'd like to see softball there. We'd like to see this and that there. So as long as the program supports outdoor recreation, everything's on the table now, certainly including the softball fields. No promises made.
What about pickleball?
What is it?
Pickleball.
I've heard that one too, yes. Yes.
Is there anyone else that would like to? Are you done?
Yes.
I'm sorry. Yes, come on up.
Good evening. My name is Rick Hanley, 489 Jackson Avenue. I'm here with my wife this evening, supporting our friends and neighbors on the things presented to the council. Living on Jackson, over 20 years ago, my wife called me and said, I found the perfect house, and we got in the car, came right up here. It turned out that we were just 2 blocks away from my aunt and uncle who've lived in Township since the 1950s. So known Township all my life, and when she pointed out our house, which is right up the hill from Washington School and the field, it was a perfect choice. Just want to say that our support for everybody, the things mentioned about 450 tonight, about the school. One thing I can say, and I don't think it's just a subjective view, is living so close, we were fortunate enough that our daughter was able to walk to school, and for parents, it's a great thrill to do that when they're that little. Over the years, though, and hearing the comments tonight, and also just seeing it working remote, the traffic flow that occurs near the school at those peak times, particularly the pickup in the afternoon, and seeing how much has kind of flowed onto Jackson Ave compared to years ago is just something that, like any parent, it's something that makes all of us just nervous that there's that many kids with the traffic. And just want to say to the council to please do everything in your power to preserve our open spaces and also to help that school make the best experience for the kids and for the families of our community. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is there anyone else that hasn't come up that would like to come up?
Can I ask a question, totally unrelated, about what happened
sorry.
last night with the police?
We are not able to have you come back up or speak from the seats, but you can definitely send an email.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
because it's about the car thefts in town.
Okay.
And what's happening, and I had to call the police last night at 11 o'clock.
Okay, you can send an email. I'm sorry. If you do send it, you can send it to all of the council, so one of us or
Yeah, I just
more
would
than.
like, what I would like to
Send to the
find
clerk.
out is what's happening in
Oh,
town and
yeah.
what might be addressed.
Okay. Is there anyone else that would like to come up?
If I'm sending an email, will I get a response?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hi, I'm Deborah Agnello, 667 Meissen Street. Has nothing to do with the waterway or anything like that. Since the gentleman asked a question about the swim club, it's not to do with the grant, but does anyone know about the bond money that people are expecting to get? Anybody?
Yeah.
Purview.
Council President?
Go ahead, you can speak, you can answer.
Yeah, the bond money has really absolutely nothing to do with the township. I mean, we have nothing to do with people getting their money back or whatever the claim is that they have. That's not anything the town is involved with, so.
Do you know where to proceed to do that? Because the board of the swim club does not answer anyone's emails, questions, or anything like that. So how do you go forward in doing that? There's many people who have to get their bond monies back. How do you
Well,
proceed with that?
the only thing I would recommend is the attorney for the board. You might want to contact them or have an attorney contact them because they represented the swim club, at least in the real estate. Now, whether they represent them, for other things, I don't know. I can't say that. But
Because there's many people in town, a lot of people I know, that have not received their bonds for 20 years. So they're all inquiring, asking, and no one has been giving them answers.
Yeah, well, that's the first place I would go is to the attorney for the swim club. That's where I would go.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good question.
Can he post the attorney?
It's in the contract, so you could actually give that information out. The notice provision was going to go to the attorneys for the board, for the club, the swim club, the recreation club. So you can give them that address and telephone number. It's in there.
So could I ask the administrator to get that information and post it on our web?
Sir, it already is on our website.
For the attorney?
I think is it a link that,
That's
on how to email? So
Yeah.
There's just an email to the swim club director that you
president,
can
yeah.
send in.
Just the
asking
swim
for-
club
That's
president.
it.
nice.
But nothing for the attorney.
Yeah, it's for the
I
board.
was looking.
That's for the board.
There was a link on there, but I don't see it.
We can look into it tomorrow.
Okay.
You have her, it was Mrs. Agnello. Okay. Yes, so how do you want to submit it? How do you want to?
It's up to how you and the mayor want to post it on the website. We can post it on the website. They can put in, Ken, what do you think is the best way to do it? I mean, they can put an open request in, but
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I didn't hear what you said.
how would you like them to get it? Do you
We're
want,
frozen.
are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How should they get it?
Yeah, what would be the best? I mean, can we just, well, we could put it on the website, but I think that'd be up to the mayor. He wants to post it on the website or.
I mean,
do an
if
open
somebody
request?
made is a contract up there, is that on the website? It's not.
Not that I know
Okay.
of.
All right, so, I mean, I probably, maybe somebody sends in a quick Oprah request for the name and the address. And then, you know, I'll answer the Oprah for you and then you can send it back. How's that?
Okay, does that make sense to everybody?
And you only need one Oprah. Whoever wants to do it, it can be, you know, the same one, so it's fine.
All right, so someone needs to submit to me as the clerk an Oprah request. They're on our website, or you can call the office tomorrow morning and we can email it out to you. He said only one person would have to submit it. He would respond with the information, get it out, and then you can share it amongst yourselves.
I'll put it on the town's website.
That's what we've also said, so we have to have a conversation with the mayor about that.
Is that we do not know who else is paying for their bonds.
I understand that.
Individually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Financial information. We don't know nothing.
So what we're going to do is just what Mr. Poller mentioned, and we will run it by the mayor to see if it is possible that we can put it on the website for easier access.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Pollard.
Anyone else?
Bob Stickle, 191 Walnut Street, Township of Washington. A few meetings back, I know the mayor proposed doing a tax reevaluation because it hasn't been done for years. I know Councilman Sears was against it. You know, it's a big misnomer. You know, some people's taxes may go up, some may go down. But I will say this. Last year, the Board of Education taxes in Township of Washington, because we haven't had a reevaluation in years, and Westwood does 20% every year, so every 5 years they do a full reevaluation. So if you had an average house here in the township of $464,000, your school taxes went up $250. The average assessed house in Westwood went down $50. So we're actually being penalized by not doing a reevaluation. And with the reevaluation, my taxes may go up, my taxes may go down, but that doesn't, the only thing that's going to increase our municipal taxes is if you don't come up with a zero budget this year. So we're getting creamed by the school taxes, which is 67%. So I'm not an expert on that, but maybe we should talk to a tax assessor on that. The other thing, I just want to echo Mr. Snee. I thought it was a complete disrespect last month, Council President Morgan, that you didn't let the mayor speak. Maybe you don't want to hear what he has to say, but myself as a taxpayer may want to hear what he has to say. And for him to have to come up here and speak as a person from the public, that's just complete disrespect. And I don't think that should ever be done again. I know it's in your power, the form of government, that you don't have to let the mayor speak, but you should have that respect. I also had a problem last month. Councilman Sears called out Councilwoman Velez and Feeney. The attorney said what Councilwoman Velez said was okay. I think you owe both of them an apology, Tom.
Well, you have your opinion, and we've already settled our issues, and we already requesting a clear interpretation on what goes in closed session.
Okay, well, I think it was very clear what the attorney said last month.
Again,
I'm
you
also
have
in
your
favor of 450 PASCAC, and like people said earlier, it's not scare tactics. There's no doubt in my mind that if we don't buy that property, a developer will come in there, because there's not too many 3.2 acres left. And we're already going to be impacted by what's going to Joy's Farm, all the other things they built across from the cemetery. All those people are going to, I mean, it'd be probably great for our businesses in town, but we're going to get hit with the traffic when those people come up to shop. So not to buy that property. At $15 for each person, we can maybe get a grant and less than that. There's no way you're going to tell me that a developer's not going to develop that property. It's going to happen. And again, the zoning board's going to have nothing to say about it. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to echo what Mr. Warfel said, and I think that you know, by saying that is a little disrespectful to the zoning board. They are going to have something to say about it. That's their job. We voted them in, and no, actually, does he have any time?
1 minute, you have 1 minute, 53 seconds left.
Okay, so I just want to say, I think the zoning board, I think we really do them a disservice by saying that they don't have anything, they're not going to be able to stop them. We've put people on that board, we've entrusted them, and to say that, you know, what's their point on the board? It's not a fair statement, so I would caution that maybe, you know, think about what you're saying and what you're conveying.
I did think what I had to say.
Okay.
But if that's the case, we're getting a 4-story multi-dwelling in town. You're telling me that's good? You're telling me, you know, where they're going to build single-family homes, we're also getting multi-level families there. So that's proof what the zoning board can do and can't do. And if it goes under affordable housing, they don't have much to say. It goes to the state.
Those are certain circumstances, just like COA, what you're saying, absolutely. But that's not to say that that's what was going there. There's nothing saying that. For you to make a blanket statement that they can't stop it is not right.
I'm going to say whatever I want to say.
I'm just letting you know. As I
Okay,
will
so-
conduct the meeting as I see fit, you should also take into consideration what it looks like optically to the rest of the residents, what you're saying about the zoning board. It's not right.
So you're going to tell me or any other resident what they can say and what they can't say here?
Is that what you got from that? That's
Yes,
not what
that's
I'm
exactly
saying.
what I got
No,
from
I'm
that.
asking you to just understand that what you're saying is just as disrespectful as me, you know, having an opinion about what's being said at the meeting with the mayor. It's the same kind of thing. It's an opinion, and you're making it factual. So to say that they have no saying, that's not the case. The zoning board does their job, and they do it well. You don't know everything that's come across the zoning board, what they've stopped and what they haven't, you know, what they've turned down and turned away. They're not just, they're residents as well, and I think we need to keep that in mind. And I will echo what Mr. Snee said. We see them in the bagel store. They're neighbors. Our kids go to school together with everybody. Let's cut them a break, too. They live here. They're not going to throw the town away and make it, you know, they want to preserve the beauty as well. No one's paying them to be on the board.
None of my comments said that. There's certain things they don't have power of.
That's not what you said. You said they can't stop it.
Well, if they don't have power to stop it, they can't stop it. So
Thank
stop
you.
mixing my words, and I'll get up and say whatever I want to say.
That's fine. You don't have to be rude.
I'm not being rude.
Okay, I disagree. Thank you.
Good, so you have a right to disagree.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Is there anyone else that would like to come up? No? Okay. Motion to close public?
So moved.
Second.
Why are you? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion was by Tom and Daisy, second.
Yes.
We're gonna have a 5-minute break.
I don't think we need it. We can go.
No,
right
let's
in.
just go.
Yeah, let's go right through.
It's Fat Tuesday, gotta go eat something.
Okay.
Before, you know,
Oh,
White
God,
Castle.
and you're saying that's to her?
I had my, that's all right, it's, what's bad with onions and beef, come on.
Okay.
Gotta have my-
Okay,
the rest of
I'm
my
going to ask
pancakes
you to
waiting
take
for
the
me at home.
conversation outside, please. We're going to move on to the rest of the meeting. Thank you. Okay, adoption, second reading. Yes.
You want that girl's phone number and before she leaves?
Can you give me your, yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll keep in touch.
Happy Ramadan.
Do you have a copy of that file? Can I just take a quick picture?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's great that what you're doing. I really do.
Thank you.
You gotta be super careful at school with these kids when Ramadan comes up when you're doing phys ed because they're all exhausted and they're hungry. And I'm like,
Hey,
hurry up.
hey, David, could you close that door, please? Thank you.
So they can pop it.
What's that? I'm putting in the work.
She sent that email.
Thank you.
That's
No.
So WCTV says if there's any freezing, with the thing, if there's an issue with the internet in the room or Mr. Collar's feed, but everything looks fine on his end.
Candy, you still with us?
I'm here.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you. Just checking.
Okay, so adoption, second reading, ordinance number 23-02, an ordinance establishing parking restrictions on portions of Wayne Place and White Birch Road. Resolution number 23-169, authorizing second reading and opening of public hearing for ordinance 23-02. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilwoman Feeney is absent. Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay.
Can we discuss it?
Sure.
as well? So just for the record, I mean, I've said it in the past, the parking's gonna be difficult with these restrictions, but for the safety of our kids, I know that they need to happen. But I know that as a parent that's picking up, it's definitely gonna be difficult, so I do feel for those parents. But I have seen these safety concerns myself, so we gotta do what we need to do to keep the kids safe overall. Just wanted to add those 2 cents in.
Okay. Okay, any other discussion?
Well, I was, in light of that, and it really has nothing to do with the ordinance, you know, knowing that Mr. DeCarlo mentioned sidewalks possibly going in the budget, which I was unaware of. You know, in the meantime, you know, it's something that we have to do, like Councilman Velez says, we have to take safety as the #1 priority. And if this gets us there or somewhere close to that, I'm all for it.
So, Steve, just to ask, you said that it's a cycle thing. So how many times have sidewalks, do you recall, been presented?
3. And it was more on, not White Birch, what's the one on top?
Wayne?
Wayne Place.
Do you recall why they failed?
Yeah, because the residents didn't want it on their property, and we tried to get some, what's it, safe passage to schools, what's that called?
Well, it was costs on who's gonna pay to put the sidewalks
Yeah.
in.
And we tried to
who's
get a
gonna
grant.
Maintain them.
You know, and it really wasn't, the area just wasn't feasible to do it at that point, it just didn't, you know. Those streets seem to be very narrow, just eyeballing it for some reason. That's just the way they were designed, so we just didn't want to do it. Too much resistance.
Would you say that there's a lot more traffic now? I mean, I don't know how often you travel during that time. Would you say there's more traffic now versus the past 3 attempts?
Yes. I was up there 2 weeks ago.
I don't know, again, you know, the schools are very, you know, schools are very cyclic. You have an increase in population, then it shoots down, because it's just people as they move on, you know, just like the high school. We used to have classes of almost 400 people. Now you're lucky if you have a class of 200. So again, everything's cyclic,
Okay.
you know, so.
Just trying to understand the history a little bit.
Yeah, no, it's crowded up there, there's no doubt about it, it's always been crowded up there. How much crowded it is now, I really can't give you an honest overview.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So motion to close. Public hearing for ordinance 23-02.
Second.
Okay. Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Motion to adopt ordinance number 23-02 at second reading by title.
So moved.
I'll second. Roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Introduction, first reading, ordinance number 23-03, an ordinance establishing no parking and no standing restrictions on Finnerty Place. Motion to introduce and pass ordinance number 23-03 at first reading by title.
So moved.
Second.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Resolution number 23-170, authorizing publication of ordinance number 23-03 and scheduled public hearing. I'll motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay, an individual resolution. Resolution number 23-171, authorized 2022 transfer of appropriations, $5,230. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Can we have a question, Council President?
Want to talk about it?
Yeah, you want to discuss?
Yes, if you would, please.
Mm-hmm.
I did mention this, I'm kind of concerned, and I did talk to Mr. DeGalli about the $1,000 transfer for electrical bill to the firehouse, and sort of was explained that it's a backup of a month to month, but hearing the concern of a citizen of the big lights that are glaring all night, and now we transferred $1,000, and then I think a month or so, we transferred another $32. I know Art Cummings, in his, God rest his soul, put in a energy efficient system that he wanted to install that probably would have controlled $1,000 a month for electrical is unbelievable. And I know it might be a little less, but even still at this point, I'm just concerned that we haven't seen the gas and electric bill for this building either coming up. And maybe we all should go back and consider installing that environmental system that Mr. Cummings wanted. Thank you.
You're talking about the energy efficiency?
The energy efficiency,
That was
yes.
taken out of with the change order.
Yes.
That was changed, which, of all the things to take out of a building, that would probably be the last thing I would take out. So I understand, Mr. Sears, but, you know, I'd love to say no, but these are bills we have to pay, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know.
You know, so in that light, maybe we can revisit that somewhere. Maybe we can get a grant for more energy efficient stuff in the new building, you know, in the future.
Thank you, Council President.
You're welcome. Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
I have to recuse myself because there is fire department money being spent here.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
And Council President Morgan.
Yes.
Mr. Pollard.
Yeah, that's not enough. We need 4 votes for transfers.
Well, then may I ask you, Mr. Pollard, since this is physicals, I don't control, and I don't control
Well, let me
clothing allowance.
let me just see that resolution for a second. Hold on, let me look at that. Yeah, let me just see that.
I'm gonna change my vote to yes.
Yeah, okay.
And I mean, this is so minuscule, it's not a
Yeah.
major budget change.
Yeah. And I think it's not, just because there's money in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna say yes, Council President.
Stop leaving the lights on top.
Yeah, I don't need.
Okay.
Mr. Pollard, were you okay to do that?
Well, I'm just trying to, I'm trying to get to
Get
the,
the resolution.
I'm scrolling to the transfer. Let me just see this for a second. Fire department expenses.
That's actually directly. It's not.
Nothing does.
They get a salary.
Fire department, physicals. Fire department clothing. Well, you're not really voting on incurring the expense. You're actually voting on paying for something that's already been expended. Is that what that is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not making the decision to do the spending. You're just, you have a debt that's owed by the township, and you're just trying to pay the debt with monies that exist in another department, right?
But I'm not benefiting at all from that.
No, I realize that, but I know you're not benefiting, but I'm trying to see that you're not part of actually even expending money, doing the expending of the money. You're just funding an existing expense.
No, that money's already in a budget.
Yeah.
Pass, so it's not like.
Right, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's no issue.
So I think it can. I think.
Okay, thank you. So my vote is a yes.
Okay. So you got that?
Yep, do I have to do another roll call, Mr. Fowler, or are we okay with him just changing his vote from a recuse to a yes?
Well, I think it's okay that he changed it, but why don't you take a read?
Do it again. I think
Okay.
it's wise if you just do it
That's
again.
fine.
Take a revote.
Yep, I'm fine with that. Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Resolution consent agenda. The following items have been determined to have the unanimous consent of council will be enacted in one motion. Should any item require independent consideration, any council member may have such item removed from the consent agenda. Does anyone have anything that they would like removed?
Yes.
Okay. Daisy, which one?
The first one, 23-172.
Okay.
Just a separate vote.
Okay. And Councilman Casio, which?
173, please.
And
175 for a separate vote.
Okay, so resolution number 23-172. We're going to vote on that one first, I guess. Separately.
You want to
We'll
do
do-
your, what's left?
There's only
172,
three left.
173, 175.
It's either one or the, I mean, either way. There's
That's
three
the
left
one
and three to
heftier than
pull.
the other.
Right.
Yep.
mhm. So we'll just do the two that are separate. We'll do that for right now. Resolution number 23-172. May I have a roll call?
Motion.
I mean,
So moved.
yeah.
Second.
Okay, so roll call on that one, right?
Yep. Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
I recuse myself.
And Council President Morgan?
Yes. Resolution number 23-173. You wanted this pulled for discussion?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss it.
Okay.
My question is, with this particular authorization, why are we still doing, or why is LISCO still doing environmental stuff on the remediation of the DPW site? I thought we were done with that.
No, because in addition to just removing the soil, there's monitoring wells there, and there's extractions of samples from those monitoring wells have to take place, and those results have to be reported to the DEP. This is part of the process. I mean, it's just
So
not.
you're talking those wells are off the actual site that was paved over? Okay. Yeah, I remember there's a couple sites. Okay. I'm fine.
So just to be very clear, it's the February 3rd, 2023 proposal, just so you guys know that. Okay. Okay. So, may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Sue, roll call.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
Yes. Okay, and then separate for resolution number 23-175, approval of certification list, Township of Washington, volunteer fire department members, LoSAP program, year 2023.
No, 22. It's
22.
Okay. Okay. Motion?
So, second.
Okay, Sue, roll call?
All right, I'm sorry, motion by
Daisy?
Daisy.
Thank you, and second by,
I'll second.
Second.
Yeah, just take a
Thank
second.
you.
I keep forgetting.
Yeah, okay.
Councilman Casio.
Well, you can second.
I guess I
Yes.
could.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Sorry, Councilman Sears?
Recuse myself from voting.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
Yes. Okay, and then resolution number 23-174, resolution number 23-176, and resolution number 23-177.
So
May I-
moved.
Yeah, thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay, and Sue, roll call.
Right, motion by Councilman Sears, second by,
Councilman Cassio.
sorry, you guys are going quicker than I'm going tonight. Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Sears?
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez?
Yes.
Council President Morgan?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, adjournment to conference agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We're going to skip the update on the new DPW building, or are we able to talk about it? Mr. DiCarlo, do you know enough about it to talk about it?
Yes, ma'am. The mayor just wants to present the two options for the exterior to the council, and hopefully, I guess, get the decision of the council, which one to move forward with. As you can see, in one, it's concrete and brick, and in the second, it's just all brick exterior.
Sound like a dig.
Do you,
Do you want me to turn them for you, you guys?
yeah, that'd be great.
Well, it's also on the TV too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But they have all three there.
Yeah, it's the sideways and everything.
I have bad vision. Can I go peek?
Go.
Of course.
Go.
I just want to see it a little closer. We didn't get a copy. of
So,
I don't.
if I'm going to
Oh,
be
wait,
very
we got
honest,
some.
I love them both. I really think they look great. Either would be a good option. I'm just curious about the cost difference between the two.
I checked with Mr. Iannello. He said there's no cost difference that's significant, or even worth mentioning.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
I'm sorry.
So it's just preference, I think, aesthetics
No
preference.
cost
No
difference
cost
between the
difference
two.
even worth mentioning. So
Yeah.
it's minuscule.
Just different colored brick, that's all it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, cinder block, he said, so.
I mean, I like how the firehouse cinder block color looks, and it just breaks up the monotony of
Yep,
the
building.
colors.
I do like the gray, personally.
Just breaks it up.
Is that more cinder block or like a stone face, because I can't see a depth on it.
Oh, it doesn't look, you're right, it
It's
looks more
cinder
brick.
block.
Up close, like if you could go look at the picture there, at least it looks cinder block. Do you know what, if that's cinder block or gray brick?
If you don't mind, I'm just going to check my email real
Sure.
quick, because I think he explained in
It does look like gray brick, actually,
Can't
Yeah.
tell.
but it's hard to tell.
it's a mix of brick and concrete block exterior, option A, and then option B is all brick.
So it's cinder
Where I think the
block.
firehouse is like stone, I think.
You're right.
Yeah.
Oh, so this is,
They're just
Well,
cinder
it's cinder
block.
block.
This is cinder
Yeah,
That's
block.
Yeah,
fine.
you know,
Does that look very industrial?
Yeah.
cinder block, if that's just cinder block, I'm not,
Okay, so full.
it looks
brick.
unfinished.
Yeah,
to
so
me.
full brick,
So, yeah, I would, if that's the option, I would go with the full brick.
full brick. You guys agree?
Yes.
Cinder
I'll go
block,
with
just,
full
it just
brick.
looks unfinished. It's
Yeah.
just cinder
Right.
block. To me, that's, it was that stone like on the firehouse.
Well, that's why I asked about cost-wise. 'cause
Yeah,
I
well,
imagine it
exactly,
would've been the
sure,
same.
sure.
All right, are we, do you?
I mean, I mean, listen, I mean,
You're putting trucks in there. It's got to look somewhat
yeah, but we're
presentable,
also spending 4
Yeah, I
million,
know.
so.
I know.
I'm just imagining it next to like the town hall, and I think town hall looks pretty these days. We've got those nice, beautiful signs. I just think breaking up the colors, but I agree, I don't want it to look unfinished either. So I'm okay with what the majority.
Can we get a, we don't have to decide tonight, can we get a cost differential with doing a stone face? Like the firehouse?
Or gray brick? Just
Well, I'm
gray
just saying,
brick?
it looks, you know, it's just cinder block. Looks like someone, anyone could put it together. Cinder block is
Like
not
a fire
becoming to
pit.
me. Yeah, right? I mean, that's, I don't know.
I think let's go with the brick.
Full brick.
Yeah, let's do that. If you all agree.
I agree.
I say we throw some flowers and make it.
Flower
It's official?
boxes.
I think so.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I just, we're gonna have a meeting next week with Boswell and Iannello and the mayor and I, just to get everybody in the room with some time frames and move forward. So thank you for that guidance. Appreciate it.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Then we're going to move to ordinances and legislation for street opening permit prior to April 1st, 2023. Who's that? There's nothing next to that.
It says council, I put in there as council, it's a request through the engineer, through Mr. Yakimic, for public service for their modernization project that's going through. The way our ordinance is written, they're not supposed to be opening up the roads between November 1st and April 1st without permission of the council. So they're coming to asking to start, and I believe, are they starting, Mr. DeCarlo, next week, or?
They want to start immediately.
All right, they want to start immediately.
What's the reason for not opening it up sooner?
Because the way it sits.
Right, so is that gonna be a problem for us in the, very short term if we kind of deviate from what we normally do? I'm sure there's a evidence-based reason why we don't open it before April 1st. I know everyone wants it done. But are we just gonna have to redo it because it's not the right time to do it, you know what I'm saying, the settling and all of that?
Well, they're gonna do, just my experience with it, they're not gonna do the finished product paving as soon as they do the trenching, if that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna come and they're gonna put the patchwork there and then come back, I think, in the fall and do it all. That's just been my experience with it. So I can't think of anything that would be negative to allow them to start early, only just to make sure let's get this done type of thing.
Are they going to pave curb to curb? Is that what they're?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Are they going to pave curb to curb?
On the, what's the word? Moratorium roads, I think there's 2 of those they'll do curb to curb because they're required to.
Okay.
Council President, I think Councilwoman Velez picked something up today that's important for our 5K run.
Yes, so I saw what this says, it's application for Beechwood Drive and Spice Drive. However, it came to my attention just this afternoon, about 5 o'clock, that one of the residents on Woodfield received a letter regarding the opening of the sidewalk, of the streets. And because this says April 1st, we have our 5K, run, walk, health fair taking place April 15th. So once the runners are done, people are also going to park there. So we need to make sure that Woodfield is not, or any of the route is not going to be affected.
So the mayor put that on our front pages this afternoon, but it was before that, so I don't know where he had heard it from. But we checked the list again, and none of the proposed listed streets are anything that's on the race route. So I don't know where that came from. It could be a mistake. I can check with them during business hours tomorrow, see why that door hanger got placed on there. But
perhaps it was an error?
it could be.
But even
and
a parking route, you're saying?
the only reason right now why there's 2 streets is because the engineer didn't just want to list all 18 streets and give them carte blanche to just jump around. So most likely, if they're done with these 2 roads before April 1st, then we'll come back to you again with another, 1 or 2 streets.
Okay. Just April 17th, it's good to go. Just give us to April 15th. So I just wanted to, put that on everybody's radar.
All right. So are you guys okay with doing this prior to April 1st? It's requiring a motion and a second if you are. So think about it before you.
Well, the con here is that it'll potentially, because of the weather.
Right, that's what, yeah.
That's the con. But Otherwise, I mean, we gotta get it done. Correct?
As long as it stays away from the 5K route, then it's fine. you
Yeah,
know.
Tom doesn't wanna sink when he goes for a walk.
You know, as long as it stays away from that route, and you said you looked at it, so, I mean, I don't see a problem with it.
I agree.
Council President, I truly don't believe that the weather is going to be a consideration for how well the project is done.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so,
Then
I'll motion.
I'll second.
Okay. Sue, roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President Morgan.
Yes. Okay, and then we have shared service agreement, Ridgewood expanded polystyrene packaging recycling services, Mr. Sears.
Yeah, I
Councilman.
believe Ken has that and he's reviewing it.
Right.
So by the next maybe council
yeah.
meeting?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So we're going to go to closed session, resolution number 23-178, proposed acquisition litigation 450 Pascack Road, litigation and tax appeals. Motion to enter into close?
So moved.
So moved. Council President,
yeah.
do we have anything for Dave? He's been
Oh,
sitting here.
sorry, you have been sitting here. Was there anything that you wanted, you came for us in case we had any questions?
No, I was just,
Okay.
Okay.
coming to the meeting, I have a feel for what's going on in town. So certain opportunities arise, I would know that, particularly energy efficiency grants, there are some possibilities out there that I've discussed with the business administrator.
Okay.
Okay. I appreciate you being here at the meetings.
Yeah.
So please feel welcome to come as often as you'd like.
Hmm.
Thanks. All right. As
And
I was.
congratulations.
I can leave.
Yes.
You can leave now, we're going into close.
Well, let's enter in first. So motion to enter into close, did we have a motion?
Yep.
Yep,
And a second?
Yep.
yep.
Who's second?
Tom.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I'm not sure, I am not sure if the council will reconvene to the public, so I am not sure at this time.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, really appreciate it.
He gets the award for.
Yeah.
All right, so, I'm gonna